Yeah. So go ahead, Leslie,
Oh,
the Kaufman Scholar.
you know,
Are you
that,
recording?
Yeah,
What? Say an introduction first.
that's true.
that's why I was like I wasn't recording yet.
Okay,
But
let's just.
if we have to have an introduction, welcome to the first episode ever of the Sumner Success Center podcast. I guess with Miss Dr. Martha DeVries and Miss Ramirez and me, yours truly, Mr. Taylor.
Hi, everybody.
Hello,
See?
popping.
And Leslie was talking about being a confidence scholar and learning the like terms and being introduced to uh just college in general by Kaufman. What was that like?
Um, you know, when you start so early, so like we kind of started around. You go through the process like in sixth grade to apply, and then you really start like in seventh grade. And back then I used to like dread sometimes because like after school on certain days, like on Tuesdays, I think it was like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we'd go like to an after school program where we'd have classes again on like English and science and math. And I remember I'd be like, bro, I just got out of school and I'm going back to school. But looking back now, I would do that all over again if I got my tuition paid for. I didn't
I
know.
would too.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Do you think you took it for granted?
No. I
No.
think once no, I think once I got in high school and I actually like saw the cost of attending a university, I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys need me to do what? Okay, yep, no problem." But when I was younger, I wasn't really like sure. I mean, I knew I wanted to go to college because that's what everybody told me that's what I needed to do, growing up. So like it was in my head. I was like, okay, I need to go to college. So yeah, I'll go through with this program. But I didn't really know like how expensive college was until I got to high school, and then that's when I really started appreciating the program. And I was like, you know what? This is not that bad. What they're requiring from us is really not much.
Right, right.
And so,
Um, what I talk about with students and people in general is positioning yourself for success. So just going to, even if you don't understand or you don't think that it's going to help or whatever, especially with our students and stuff, just completing the task. Like if you didn't complete the task in seventh grade and go to everything that you are like you were responsible for getting and progressing through the Kaufman Scholars, if you didn't even do that, you wouldn't even have put yourself in position to receive that scholarship, which may have put you in a different place when you graduated, and you might not be doing what you're doing now and progressing in your career.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, like Kaufman has blessed me so much, not even with just college, but just opportunities in general. Like I realized that it's not sometimes who you know, it's really who knows you. And so via Kaufman, I've had a lot of opportunities. I mean, I got internships. I got two internships through Kaufman. I got this job through Kaufman, honestly, because my Kaufman scholar coach, she was the one who heard about this opening at the K State College Advising, and so she was like, "I think you'd be a great fit for it. I don't know, maybe you want to think about it." And yeah, I applied. I read everything I was gonna be involved with, and here I am. So I think it's just about making, like you mentioned, like making sure that you take opportunities when you see them, and sometimes you don't really see the bigger picture, but that's okay because you're just being shown a snippet, and once you get and dive into it, then you'll start putting the pieces together. You don't really have to know where you're going. Sometimes you just have to be willing to take a risk.
I think it's really important too, because most of the kids who are watching this right now or listening to this, Kaufman Scholars isn't an option for them. There are lots of great options for them. We have a lot of organizations who connect with us at Sumner who want to provide mentoring programs, who want to provide opportunities for students to do above and beyond outside of school things, whether that's through, Saturday Academy or, we have a sorority who's mentoring students in grade 11. We just have
2020 leadership.
Yeah, 2020 leadership. We just have lots of really great opportunities for students to connect. So I think that students need to take advantage of those. And if one doesn't work for you, that's fine. Find one that does. So making those connections, learning from people who've gone through the process, whether they went through the process, just 5 years ago, or whether they went through it, 30 years ago, they still can give you lots of really great information. They can be really helpful, and they can help you connect. Like Ms. Ramirez said, there's so many connections that you make. It comes out who knows who you are. They may not know Leslie Ramirez, but they know what Kaufman Scholars are, and so that gives Ms. Ramirez an in with certain people. So just students, take advantage of those. Pay attention when you hear about those things and see if you can get connected.
How did you get to your position? Like, what was you doing before?
Well, my story is really kind of a long story, and I'm old, so it started a long time ago.
Well, start with Hong Kong.
Start with Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Okay,
like how'd you get to Hong Kong? I like that story.
you like that story?
Yeah.
Took me a long time to get there, but I eventually became a high school counselor. So I used to be a high school counselor here in the Kansas City area. And I worked at a school that had the IB program. And I worked there for a long time. I was a counselor, and I just worked with IB students at that school. All of our IB students were either diploma program students or eventually career-related program students. So I worked with those kiddos, and I became a workshop leader. So what that means is I would train other counselors who were working with IB students. And because I was an IB workshop leader, I was really lucky. I got invited to go lots of different places to lead those workshops. And one of the places I went was Hong Kong. And so while I was there leading a workshop, I found out about an opening at a school. And it was for someone with my background. It was not a school counselor role, but it was a college advisor role. And as a school counselor, that was my favorite part of working. I didn't really love building schedules. I really liked getting to know students, but there's a lot of work that you do as a school counselor where you're not actually working one-on-one with a kid. You're building their schedules, you're making schedule changes, you're filling out papers. So my favorite part was always working with students getting ready to go to college. So when I was in Hong Kong, I just kind of jokingly said, I'm going to apply for this job. Well, a month later, I had applied for the job, interviewed for the job, had a job offer, and had quit my old job. So everything just kind of worked out. My kids didn't need me to stay home. They were almost adults, or really they were adults. My husband was in transition, and he was like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. Let's go to Hong Kong. So we went for 3 years, and I worked as, my title was further education counselor, but really it was college advisor. I helped students apply to college all over the world. We sent kids to UK, US, Canada, all throughout Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Europe. So it was a great learning experience for me. But living in Hong Kong was fabulous. If you get the chance to do study abroad or live or work abroad at some time in your life, I highly recommend it. It's great to get out and see other parts of the world, especially good if you get paid for it, which I did, thankfully.
That's the only thing that I regret. I was too busy, and I played a sport in both semesters that I didn't get to go to study abroad. That's the one thing I was like, man, I wish I would do it. Now I'm about to go everywhere, and I ain't got to study.
Study abroad in college either. So I say in my midlife, I did work abroad, and I loved it. I loved it. It would have been more fun though when I was 19, I think. Oh well.
And you had to quarantine for 14 days after you got back.
I did. But I was in Hong Kong during the height of the COVID pandemic, and I saw how a very different governmental system handled the pandemic compared to the US. And right now, Hong Kong has had 0 deaths for like 3 weeks. So
Nice.
no new cases.
So
Yeah,
we
that's
have,
not happening.
we, what'd you say?
I said, yeah, that's not happening here.
And she laughing about it.
I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm just laughing at it. No, I am. It just,
We already know it's different, right?
yeah.
So we have family advocacy coming up. What is family advocacy? It took me a while. I've only been here a year, so it took me a while to understand what that actually was. It was like, is it parent teacher conferences or like what is this family advocacy thing? And I had to get the lingo right, but usually I guess students and their parents set up times to meet with their teachers across the board.
Well, I think that under normal circumstances, that would be true. I feel like family advocacy has 2 parts. It has Wednesday family advocacy time, which is a time where a lot of different things happen. But one of the things that happens is students get to learn a lot about the college and career process. We provide a lot of activities
Gotcha.
for for teachers to do with their students. But then we have the second part, which is coming up, which is, we call it family advocacy days. And I really do think they are like parent teacher conferences. It's just a little bit different from traditional parent teacher conferences. And we're super lucky because of the 3 of us, we don't have an assigned group. So we get to see whoever wants to see us. So I know Ms. Ramirez and I are working on getting appointments set so that students can come in via Zoom with their parents and talk to us about their plans. And then we're also doing a couple of, actually we're doing 3 presentations about, what do I do at this point to get ready to apply for college, and that's going to be for seniors and for their families. So we've got some stuff happening next week that we're super excited about, but we also know that there's no way we can see all 180 seniors during those 2 days. So we'll be offering other time slots to parents and students as well.
Good, good. About me. Oh, thank you for asking. I forgot,
What are you
right?
doing next week during family advocacy, Mr. Taylor?
What? No, I'm talking about
Oh,
how did I get to
sorry.
Sumner? Like nobody asked me. I thought y'all was gonna ask me questions and stuff. Like it was gonna be a rebuttal or whatever. Y'all didn't hold on to y'all part. Like you didn't own
You
it.
started going on a whole different direction before we could
What'd you
even
say?
ask. I, s- I said you started going in a whole different
Because
direction.
nobody asked me. I was like waiting.
Sorry,
You,
Mr. Taylor. I would like to ask you a question. How did you end up in your role at Sumner? Tell us your story.
Well, it was a long roundabout way. Um, well, what I was doing before I started at Sumner, I was Uber driving full time and teaching group fitness classes full time. So I was hustling. But for the first 7 years of my career, I was in a I was in a elementary school for 3.5, and I was a residence hall director for 3.5 years at Avila University. So um, I decided to take a break from the corporate atmosphere, and I wasn't making a lot of money. So I was like, I can hustle without all the extra pressure. Like I can teach classes out of like the back of my hand because I've been doing it for so many years. And Uber driving is a thoughtless activity. So I was like, I can do this, and I'm real strategic. So I was like, I can make this happen. I just added up the numbers, and I was like, all right, this can work. And my little $24,500 for 7 years. I was like, yeah, I need to change. So I started doing that. Um, and because I wanted to, like, I really wanted to be an academic advisor because I feel like would be a good fit for that. I always wanted to be that ever since I graduated with my master's degree, and I was in admissions and I was in residence life as an undergrad and grad assistant. So I was like, man, I could, and I put myself through college. So I learned everything and I navigated the whole process, college, grad school, all of that stuff. I was like, I can teach people about academics. Like that's the easy part. Like we got a academic schedule, like a 4 year plan. Like we can go do that. But I didn't get those opportunities. So I was like, I'm frustrated. I'm leaving. I'll hustle on my own. I'll figure it out. And then the job at Sumner, I just happened to be scrolling through, and I applied for it, got the job, and then like now a year later, like it was the best thing that happened to me in my 10 years after grad school. You know, but that was my journey there, and we'll see where it goes next.
Mr. Taylor, I think you used some terms that maybe not everyone in our audience knows. So
What is that?
you guys can help answer these questions. So you said that you mentioned your undergrad experience or your undergraduate experience. In case I'm a student listening to this and I'm like, what does that actually mean? Mr. Maris, what does it mean to be an undergraduate?
In undergrad, it just means like, you're at a university or wherever you're at, you're trying to get your degree. It usually takes like 4 to 5 years, but sometimes it might be longer, but you're getting your graduate degree. So you're getting your first degree. That's how I kind of would think about it. It's just the first degree that you get
Your
usually after
first
high
four
school.
years.
Yeah, first 4 years. Some majors it might be five though. I think some of my friends like in architecture, I think it took them like 5 years around there instead of four.
And so we often hear the terms like bachelor's degree and associate's degree. So those are both undergraduate degrees. Those are the first
Right.
degree. And also, Mr. Taylor, you mentioned a graduate degree. What's a graduate degree, in case I don't know?
That is post um, bachelor's degree. So after you graduated from regular college, you go get more education, which is usually two years. Um, I did 2 years as a graduate assistant, and graduate assistant is where you work a position and they pay for your graduate school. So I worked in admissions um, as an admissions counselor. So I did everything from at my school, at the school that I graduated from, Missouri Valley College. I helped students. Well, I did tours, help students get apply, do their FAFSA. I even had to read the ACT to students so they can get an ACT score. We had to, I had to shoot. I did a whole bunch of stuff. Uh, I had to grade the ACT, so that was my job. Yeah, so we had a in school ACT that we had to administer when people didn't have a ACT score, and it was like in between the official, and they just wanted to go to our school. It didn't apply to anybody else.
Oh,
So
I see.
yeah, So I took everybody through that whole process. And the 2 years that I was there, we had record enrollments um, at my.
Thanks to you.
I know. I don't even bring that up, but when I look back on it, like we had record enrollments those 2 years that I was there, and um, I did a lot of work. We did this one thing called, so we had to do a whole bunch of paper files. So and each office needed their own file for the particular student. So financial aid, registrar, campus life, our office. So there was like 4 or 5 files that, like, out of the paperwork that they had to be like copied for the other offices. And so it took like 5 to 10 minutes for each student that we had that comes in, that completed all their paperwork, signed their scholarship award letter, all of those different things, financial aid, all of that. And I would sit back there at the copy machine for like at least an hour and do like every single student, and nobody in my office would duplicate the files because it was such a tedious process. And so I got real good at it, and I just kept on doing it because um, our numbers wouldn't, like, we couldn't get our like, we needed them to go through the whole process before they could get enrolled and different things like that. So that's one of the things that, like, keeps the thing moving. And yeah, so
So when you were doing your graduate assistantship, you were a graduate assistant. What degree were you working for? What was that called?
a master's of arts in management.
Masters of Arts.
In management, yeah.
And what are some other kinds of graduate degrees that students might eventually go for after they get their undergraduate?
um there's all kinds of MSW, social work. That's I don't know the terms, I guess, but the ones we had at our school was management, and then they had a uh, what is the teacher certificate, or I don't know what that is, but
Masters of Teaching, MAT, probably Masters of Arts of Teaching.
yeah, so they could be a administrator.
Mm.
So those were the two programs that we had through our sister school, which was Lindenwood University. So I have a degree uh, from Missouri Valley, and then I have a degree from Lindenwood University. But I took all my classes at Missouri Valley. I double majored in undergrad, so
So some of our students might eventually be looking at getting a master's degree or a specialist degree, a PhD, which is a doctorate degree, or even some sort of professional, like an MD, which is what you get to become a medical doctor, or a Juris Doctorate, which is what you do to become a lawyer, or an MBA, Master's of Business Administration. So there are lots of different options for our students. Ms. Ramirez, I heard Mr. Taylor mention something else that I know we're going to be focusing on a little bit. Well, actually, no, we're going to be focusing on a lot very soon. He said the word FAFSA. What the heck is that?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a program. It's for federal aid. So actually, it's open right now. So if a student is listening and you want to apply and you have a lot of questions, don't hesitate to reach out. So it's basically up for your undergrad time. You can get this money. It's free money. You don't have to, you know, you just apply online, and it will require some information from you and your parents or guardian. So, but yeah, it's a nice thing to have. Um, I don't think sometimes I feel like uh, students might hear about it and then they might be scared of just what it will, like the information it will ask, especially for students who might have undocumented parents, or so if that's your case, don't worry, like everything is confidential. and it's safe for you to apply as well. So get that free money.
Yeah, it's called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, FAFSA. A lot of people call
I
it FAFSA. Fast, fast.
call it FAFSA, 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 FAFSA. I don't even know what I call it. Call it money bag.
I think it's really important for us to remind students that as as people who work with students getting ready to go to college, we are not required or even expected to report if a student or his or her family is undocumented. So we don't want students to be scared to talk with us about that. We do not tell anybody that. We don't talk to law enforcement or ICE or anything like that and say, oh, this family's undocumented. We would never do that. So students who have undocumented family members, or if they themselves are undocumented, they're safe. We are safe people to talk to about financial aid stuff. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up. We are trying to get scheduled some FAFSA workshops so that parents and students can get their FAFSA filled out. We're advising students. Like you said, Ms. Ramirez, it opened up on October 1st, but it doesn't mean you have to finish it on October 1st. So we'll be helping students throughout the year. A lot of schools will have an early deadline of like December 1st, but really you can file it throughout the year, and we'll be working with students all the way up until, April, May, getting those things finalized and submitted so that kids can get their federal aid.
And that's one of the things that we don't, as first generation college students and college graduates, like, you have to position yourself. So when somebody is telling you that, hey, you need to fill this out by a certain time, like, I had a problem with executing that because I didn't know. Like, I'm like, okay, I can put it off or whatever, but these deadlines and things like that, we don't want to push it back, or not push it back, but we don't want to take them for granted, because those deadlines, especially with the FAFSA, like, you can get more money the quicker you get those documents in.
Yeah, because colleges, they want to fill their spaces, so they give away their money as kids apply. So they could run out of FAFSA money. They could run out of federal aid money. So it's really important that students file early. And then also colleges have their own pool of money that they can give to students, and they give that away. And if they've given it all away and you haven't let them know your family's financial situation, then they might give it all away and then realize, oh man, we would have given you a lot of money, but we're out, sorry. So getting that done early is important. You're right, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, and I think it's important for students to know that, that, for example, when I was filling mine out, there's a lot of terminology that I didn't know, or I never had, I hadn't dealt with taxes and stuff. So when they were asking for certain things, I was really confused. So it's okay to have questions, and it's okay to not know certain words, or if you get stuck. So it's totally normal, and they should just reach out, and they have 3 great resources here. So they shouldn't hesitate, to just reach out. I know that my high school advisor or counselor, she kind of helped me fill some of it out, because I didn't know. First and foremost, I didn't know if I could fill it out myself, because I'm a resident, I'm not a citizen. And so first they told me, yeah, you can. So then I was just like, okay, cool. And then I remember starting to fill it out, and you start with easy things, oh, name, address, and I'm like, okay, this is easy. And then it's okay, tax info, and I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? So it's important to know that you have people that can help you, and just reach out.
Yeah, I know sometimes when I don't know how to do something, my first instinct is to just ignore it. I don't know why, but if I don't know how to do it, I'm like, I'm just going to pretend I don't need to know how to do it. But that usually isn't very helpful. I usually need to learn how to do it. Like right now, I'll admit I'm kind of ignoring learning how to use Canvas. I got other things I can use, but I'm going to need to learn how to use Canvas. I can't ignore that as the district starts using Canvas all the time. So if you have a question about, something on a college application, something on your FAFSA application, anything, it's best not to ignore it because the question's not going to go away. Like you're still going to have to fill it out. So the sooner you get it dealt with, then it's not like sitting over here waiting to be done, so.
Figure. Face everything and rise. That's
That's the acronym for fear.
that's what I just said. Like that's what you're doing. You fear. You fear the questions that like you fear Canvas a little bit. Like that's where it stems from. I'm a simple and to the point. Like let's attack it. You can what Pitbull say?
Dale.
Dale. Yeah, yeah. But in this song, he says, "Face everything and rise." I forgot the. I don't subscribe to the negative part, so I kind of forget the negative part. There's a negative acronym for fear that I forgot, but I just focus on face everything and rise. So, and that's one of the things that I mean that over the years I have had to come to face with because doing everything on your own and navigating the whole process, like you have to just be like, I don't know, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, and because I think this is the right way, uh, and that's what I do is face everything, and then usually it has a good outcome anyway. So there's
I mean, I feel like just having people in your life, or like making sure that you know the resources around you is so important, because when you go off to college, that that just becomes very clutch. I like in during my time, my first semester in college, I remember by Sunday of my first week in college, I wanted to come back home. I called my mom up and I said, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I'm in the right place. Not because I didn't like K State, but it was just more because uh so this is embarrassing, but so my first week I didn't know where the dining halls were at, and I was too scared to ask my roommate. So keep in mind that when I went into college, I already had I graduated from uh, MCC MCCC, and because I did the college dual program that the district offers in Kansas City, Missouri. And so I already had my associates, so I had more than enough to not be qualified as a freshman, so I could live off campus. So I decided to live in the school's like apartments though, because I wanted to be close enough to campus, and I also did not want to pay rent because Kaufman. So
one of those people. Yeah.
yeah, and so then I was just I got there, and my roommates were all older than me. Like one was I think like 22, like 23, maybe 24, and then like the other one was like 20, and here I am, I'm 18, and I just was so shy. Like I was just so scared and terrified, and I remember they'd go to dinner, and I'd be wanting so bad to be like, hey, like let me go with you guys so I can like get to see where the dining halls are at, but I wouldn't say anything. And so I survived off of bread and Rice Krispie treats.
Never went.
No.
How long did it take for you to get there?
A week.
To the dining hall?
Yes, it took me my
You
first
talked
week.
about that first week.
Yes, my first week. I'm telling you, and
Okay.
also being like going into class and just like
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. She froze.
relate to. Did I freeze?
How awful to spend a whole week hungry.
Should I ask somebody?
I would ask somebody. I don't miss a meal.
Yeah, I was like, well, I play basketball, so we already knew we were already in, what is that, preseason.
Yeah. Did you go to, so you went to school like a couple weeks early to get started for basketball?
No, but our campus was small, so we already knew, and I was about to eat somewhere. I'm gonna figure it out.
Follow your nose if you don't know where to go.
Right, right.
All right, Miss Ramirez, finish telling us your cafeteria story.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I didn't eat. I survived on Rice Krispies and bread for a whole week. And I just remember I was just too scared, too shy to ask anyone. And I none of like my graduating class went to K State. I was the only one, so I didn't know. I think I only knew like 3 people at K State, and they lived off campus. So I was just like, mm. And so it wasn't until like Sunday, I was just like, you know what? I don't know. I'm not feeling. I'm feeling hungry. Sure, I'm feeling hungry. The culture shock, just like just also kind of hit me. And then I just remember calling home, and I just remember, like, I didn't cry, but I was so close to crying, and I was just like, Mom, I don't know. I don't know if I can like do this. And then my stepdad, he was like, "What's wrong?" And I remember I was like, honestly, I don't know where the dining halls are at." And then he was like, "What?" And he just he called up, like he called and got like the information, and then told me like what bus to take and stuff. And then it turns out I was getting dropped off the dining hall every single morning that I took the bus to campus. They would drop me off in front of the dining hall. But the thing is that it didn't look like a dining hall, and it was because the it was like in the same like in one of the dorms. So it just looked like a big building to me, and I didn't know. And then once I got that, I started going and eating, and yeah. But it's important to ask questions. That's what I'm saying. It's important to
Or just get you a map, and all you have to do is get a map. You
I could have
like, if you
honestly.
don't want to ask any questions, like, it's okay that you don't want to ask any questions, or you don't want to make friends or whatever. But like, the thing is, we got to learn how to get the information that we need to be successful. And so to get around that, if you really are in that position to like not really um, ask somebody else, like, you have to get the information somehow to get whatever you need, and you needed food because Rice Krispies don't feel nobody. But it, like, they got campus maps, they got and you can just walk in a place, and you can at least ask somebody that works there. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that you
I was
did it
not
wrong
about
or
to.
anything, but
I would that yeah, no, I was not about to ask nobody. Even for a map, I was literally, my mind was going to class and getting back and studying, and yeah, that was it for my first week. And so, but once I found out where it was, oh no. And then I think my whole like, cuz my first semester I feel like I wasn't like very involved, and that changed so fast. Like that changed so fast. Once I started getting involved, mm, I had like no time to eat anymore. Like, but
well,
yeah,
like, K State is a big campus. They got a lot of students, and you once you get out of high school, and I tell students this all the time. you're not in class for 8 hours out of the day. Like you're not in class like you were in high school. Like
Mhm.
you only have like three, maybe four classes a day, which on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is an hour a day for each class. So if you have four
Might just
classes,
have two.
you had two a
I said
day?
sometimes,
Oh,
yeah.
sometimes, yeah. So if you have three on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you'll have two on Tuesday, Thursday, and those two classes on Tuesday, Thursday are usually an hour and a half because
Mhm.
you need that 3 hour, 3 credit hours. So you have a lot of time on your hands, and if you don't fill that time with something, you are, I believe, not getting the most out of your experience because you are somebody is paying for that experience, and if you're only taking 4 hours out of the day, you got 20 hours left in your day to do something. And then if you want to say studying, you have 2 to 4 hours. That's 8 hours out of your day. Now you have 16 hours left out of your day to do whatever is in your heart, your heart's desire. I didn't have that because I played a sport and I was involved in so many organizations. I had work study and other stuff to do. So like my days were filled every day, morning, noon, night, every single day, 4 years straight. So that was that was my life because once we got on campus, Miss DeRees, um, once we got on campus, we were already in preseason workouts. So we were getting up at 4:30 in the morning, being at
Mm.
the gym at 5, and at class at 8, 8 to 12. I had work study. We had to have 10 hours of work study. And then I had my organization meeting that I was involved in, that, and then shoot, um, we had, I was in a nonprofit organization. So did everybody go?
I didn't go.
But yeah, I just was going nonstop. Once I set foot on Missouri Valley's campus, it was nonstop.
What is work study?
Work study is a job you do on campus. That the the school pays a part of your tuition. So it's like a graduate assistant, but you can do work study that money goes directly to your tuition. We had to do 10 hours a week to get the little money that they offered us. So I
And
worked in the cafeteria my first 2 years, and that was the worst experience. 2 years of my life working in the cafeteria, and the second year, all of my teammates got out of working at the cafeteria. So as basketball players, you could work at the gym with the basketball team as your work study, and they only had so many positions. But working in the gym, you got to do like volleyball games and clean up afterwards or something like that. So you wouldn't really do your whole hours. But at the cafeteria, you had to do all of your hours. Like you had to be there, and you had to clock in. Like we had the old punch. Like you had to clock in um, and clock out. So I had to do all 10 of my hours, and every week, and like I didn't get out of it when I could because they only had so many positions, and I was the last person on my team to work in the cafeteria.
oh, yuck. I didn't do work study when I went to college because um, I went to college in my hometown, so I kept living at home. And so I worked my job that I had worked in high school. So it was at McDonald's. So I worked my job at McDonald's and then went to school. So I didn't have work study, but then I had to pay for my tuition and other fees through through the money that I earned at McDonald's because my parents didn't pay.
Yeah. With my schedule, like I could not work an outside job. So
Yeah. Well, you were a student athlete, so student athletes, that's really like having a job.
yeah, yeah.
Did you work study, Ms. Ramirez?
No, I didn't work study, but I had a job, but it was on the weekends, and it was not every weekend. It was just I worked in the football or basketball games.
Mm.
So I was security and
Security.
security.
So whenever we're back in school after the work school from home is over, we know that you'll keep us safe at school.
That's why we put you by the door.
I mean, I'm 5'2", but I can throw down. So
yeah. She went to the school of hard knocks.
I went. Fun, guys. I'm really glad we did it.
Yeah, I think we got them a lot of information. So if you need any of us, you can find us on our website. I don't know what that is, but it'll be in the description.
Sumner Focus.
Sumner Focus. You know the .com, like.
Uh,
Yeah. See.
Oh, it's not .com.
Or dot whatever.
You can search for the Sumner Focus and you'll find it because that's our website. Sumner Student Services or Sumner Success Center. That's what it is. The Sumner Focus. That's us.
Yeah, you can find us there for any questions that or any topics that we talked about today. I hope this was a great first episode, I think.
Yeah, I feel kind of famous.
Already?
Anybody want my autograph?
You what?
Man.
Anybody want my autograph?
Hey, y'all better get mine before I become a rapper. I'm just letting you guys know.
You got skills like that?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we gotta get one of the songs in a banana suit.
I'm gone, not in the banana suit. I wanna.
Next episode, Ms. Ramirez is gonna take us down.
Who said that? No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't rap. We might as well get it all out there. I'm a genius, so I can show my genius.
I got nothing.
I'm not about to do Zumba unless I'm getting paid. That's what I tell people. Unless I get paid, I will not do Zumba. Teach Zumba. All right. Well, until next time, I will see y'all. I mean, we'll do this every week, so I will see y'all later. Bye.
Cheers.